Back again with another review. This time it's the K17U cordless vacuum cleaner that was sent in via MooSoo for a review. I have been using this for around about 2 weeks since I've shot this initial unboxing, so that should give you some idea of the use. There's your power trigger on the side, and you've a release catch there for your dust compartment. That top button's to switch between the normal and turbo modes. Main dust compartment that has a cup at the bottom, plastic cup, and there's a lip on the side there, catch there. So just open that up and you'll see that you've got a seal, and that cup is removable as well, so you'll need to take that out occasionally to give it a clean. On the top we have the filter system, and they're saying this is a HEPA filter and it is washable. You can see the foam covering on the underside there. The main filter on this is the white foam one, and that's also washable. That catches most of the dirt coming into the cleaner. Stainless steel mesh filter, that catches the larger particles, and that's just a quick look there at the motor. This is the extension tube, and that's a mix of aluminium, and it also has plastic parts on it with locking mechanisms. It is height adjustable, and I will put the measurements a bit later on in the video so you can see how tall this is. There's your electrical contact points on both ends, and that just plugs straight into the main unit, and that's how it gets power down to the brush. There's a flap in the main compartment that just prevents particles coming out. This is the motorized floor brush, and you can see it's a relatively compact size, 25 centimeters, and you can move it around at different angles. It's quite flexible. There's your electrical contact point, so the motor is in the head, and that's what drives the roller brush around. Here's a close-up look on the bristles. The red ones are actually quite short and firm, whereas the black ones are quite a bit softer. The design on this is quite interesting because it also allows you to remove it. If you just push that latch in, you can then completely take the roller brush out if you need to get in there to clean it. Personally, haven't found it much of a problem with picking up hairs because there's quite a wide spacing on that, but it's nice that you can actually take that out if you need to. Easy enough to put back, just reinsert it and you can push it into the mechanism on the end and close that off. They do give you a brush for cleaning. You can use that on the filter as well, and on the other end there is a sharp edge that you can actually cut hairs off with that. Here's the crevice tool that they include, relatively long, and that has a little cutout on the side just to let a bit of air through. They also include a dusting brush, and that has a rotating head. You can't remove the bristles from that though, they're actually fixed into the moulding. This part here is the cradle. You get the raw plugs and screws for that if you want, and it also has the 3M sticky tape on the back. Here's the power adapter. I got the Euro one, so I had to convert that. Quite a long cable on this. This is the power pack that they've included, and this has the LED indicators on there. There's your input jack, and I've just given you a couple of close-up shots so you can see what these specifications are. I did do a very quick teardown on that later on in the video, just a very brief one, and that just slots into the main unit. It clicks into place quite firmly. 3 LED battery level indicator. Everything feels pretty solid on this really, considering the price point. Motorized head comes with 4 LED lights on the front, and they are always on. You can't turn them off. Are they gimmicky or useful? Potentially useful, but not really a must-have as far as I'm concerned. Here's the dimensions now with the floor brush tool attached. And now we're on to some of the tests. The charging time on this was just under 4 hours 45 minutes. You don't have to have it attached to the unit to charge it. With the runtime tests, I got much better battery performance than they indicated, around 45 minutes on the standard, about 16 minutes on the turbo. Not sure why there's a difference with that, perhaps they upgraded the power pack. And here's the noise test, around about 60 decibels at the highest output. Whilst I show you some of the tests that I did, this is on the short pile carpet. I've got some cornflakes, some of them are crushed up, and there's some oats on the left hand side. I'll add some of my own commentary to this of my own use the last couple of weeks. Most of the time the lower power level is going to be enough to pick up items. The exception to that is going to be very large things such as big particles of cereal. Then you're going to want to go into the turbo mode. When you're looking at thicker pile carpet, it's the same thing again. This is just a rug that I have. It's a wall rug, quite dense, but similar performance on this. The motorized brush is doing most of the work on this, so you don't really need a ton of suction off of the unit. Of course, a cleaner this size isn't going to be able to compete with a full-size vacuum cleaner in terms of the power or the suction. There are some drawbacks though, and I'll come on to that now because this is something to consider. It's really down to the tools that they provide rather than the unit itself. Because you don't have a upholstery tool with this, and that's usually a rectangular one, sometimes with a brush that you can remove, you're going to have to either try to use the motorized head. I also had a go at it with a dusting brush. Upholstery tool would definitely work better for this because you can get that increased suction in a smaller area. So it's not going to be ideal for pet hairs. In this example, if you've got hairs on a hard surface or on the carpet, you'll have no problems at all picking up the dirt with this cleaner. Moving on to the car now, this was pretty dirty, hadn't been cleaned for months. A lot of sand and grit in this car, which makes it quite difficult to clean. And again, you're going to have to use the dusting brush to pick up the dirt. And that's another area where an upholstery tool would have been a much better bet. But I did get there after a bit of time, although I did run the battery out and I hadn't quite finished cleaning the car. Very dirty car though, so I'd perhaps say for a normal car clean you'll probably be okay. Quick example on a laminated surface, no problems at all. Keep it on the low mode. If you want to get a bit of extra suction, then just hit that turbo mode. Now for a mat, this has recessed parts in it, so you really want to use the turbo just to beef up the suction on that. Although if you go over it a few times on this standard mode, it seems to be enough to pick up the bits of cornflake in there. Move on to the cleaning now. It's usually a one-touch affair. Just open the dust compartment. Occasionally you'll get something stuck, so just give that a quick pull. And also do pull off that cup at the bottom because you can get dirt accumulate just under that. Again, just shake it off or use the brush to clean that out. And this is the main filter on the inside. You can see the white one's picking up most of the dirt. Both of these are washable, so fairly easy to clean and quite quick to dry, but do make sure that they are fully dry before you put them back into the cleaner. I'd also give the main compartment a quick clean out as well. Onto a couple of areas that do bother me, weaker points, and the most obvious is there is nowhere for tool storage on this cleaner. There is a rubber strip on the back of the power pack, which is quite useful. Unfortunately though, it does come off quite easily, so what I'll do is probably glue that in place. It's more useful than you think because you can just lean it against a wall or a unit, and it does keep the cleaner pretty firm and stable in place, so that's one area to improve. The other point to mention is, can you get replacement battery packs? And at the minute it looks like that you can't. Here's a quick look at the inside just to show you what's going on in there. Easy enough to replace the cells, they're included in a plastic cage. But I would have liked to have seen an option to buy additional battery packs because that is something which I would find quite useful. Here's my pros and cons list just to summarise all of the points that I've talked about. Overall it is quite a good vacuum cleaner, particularly if you look at the price point that they're selling this for, around about 140, 150. It's not the cheapest, but it's far from expensive. Leaving aside the weaker points that I've talked about, I think most people are going to be pretty happy with this. If you've got any thoughts or questions on this, do drop them below in the comments section. And thanks for watching. Hopefully that would have given you some useful information, let you know whether or not this cleaner's going to work for you.